All right, so now that we have our most important elements within our 16-bar framework over here, what we can do now is add some sidechaining. At the top of the session, you can see an audio track that is called sidechaining. Make sure that it's set to no input, very bottom here, but it's set to in this section. And if an audio track is set to in, then it turns blue automatically. And I just want to make sure that tracks like the loops are heading into sidechain ducking. My synths are going into sidechain ducking. Atmosphere is also going into sidechain ducking. Basses and the effects that we'll get to later on. So all of the tracks, besides the drums, the core drums in this case, they're going into sidechain ducking. And on this sidechain ducking channel, we are going to load up a compressor. We're going to open up the sidechain panel over here. Select sidechain, input from kick. So our kick's going to be the sidechain trigger. And we also want to make sure that the slow cut is enabled because we don't want the low frequencies of the kick to determine the sidechain triggering. We only want that high, short click. So our sidechain isn't manipulated by the low frequencies of the kick, but just by the high, short little tick, tick. And then we can start reducing the threshold here to determine the pump amount. And since this is a very dance-oriented genre, I'm actually going to go for a very harsh compression here, infinity to 1. So everything that passes this threshold here is going to be completely cut off and reduced in volume. And if we were to dial down the threshold, you could hear that exaggerated effect here. I might change the release to 20 milliseconds so the sidechain isn't that long and it goes back to the original value quite quickly. So now before sidechaining, it sounds like this. And with sidechaining, it sounds like this. There's a bit of pumping going on, which I really like. And okay, so that was sidechaining. And in addition to that, I would like to do some quick creative processing because I feel like the hi-hats aren't melting in the mix as much as I'd like them to. And there is a really interesting effect called erosion in Ableton Live that you can load up. And we're going to put it onto the hats loop channel over here. Make sure it's set to wide noise over here. Let's crank up the amount to around 40, 43% is fine. Set the frequency to a higher frequency. Let's give the hi-hats a playthrough here. Oh, completely different texture without it. And with it, I find that to be very interesting to make the hi-hats a bit wider and give them a completely different texture and make them sound a bit more gritty. And if we feed that into our sidechain with the rest of the drums, let's give that a quick playthrough here. Very nice. And without erosion. Ooh. I missed the other sound. Awesome.